welcome to the stage Congressman Chip Roy.
I wasn't sure. I'm not even sure what day it is. Legitimately, not sure what day it is. But it is great to be here. It is great to be in Iowa. It is an honor to be here. You guys take this so seriously and rightfully, and it's just been so gratifying to get around the state of Iowa. It's good to be here. Although I will say, I was in Austin, Texas, coming out of church on Sunday, and it was 72 degrees. And, I was working around, we have 10 acres. I was working outside in shorts and a t-shirt, a little different now, but it was good to bring my family up here. I have my son, my 14-year-old son, Charlie, my 12-year-old daughter, Virginia. They're having a blast. My son has been here before, en route to Omaha to go to the College World Series. He wanted to go to Field of Dreams, and I said, son, there ain't no corn in the outfield right now, so we'll have to come back and do it in the summer. But look, I'm here for one simple reason. I believe in this country, I believe in freedom, and I believe we need a candidate for President of the United States who will stand up and deliver for the people of this country, including each and every one of you in this room. And that's why I'm proud to be campaigning for Ron DeSantis. I have been incredibly blessed to be a member of Congress and serve the people of Central Texas. 11 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And my daughter, Virginia, who's now 12, she was 4 months old. My son, Charlie, was just under 2 years old. My wife is a saint. And through her support and our faith in the Lord and the good doctors at MD Anderson, I'm cancer-free. But getting through that process, it reaffirmed my commitment to public service. And it reaffirmed my commitment to want to pass down a country that my kids and my grandkids can inherit. How many veterans do we have here in the room? We've got 3, 4, 5 veterans. God bless you. Thank you for your service. One of the primary reasons, but not the only reason that I was, so honored to get to know Governor DeSantis and support him is his service. He chose. He didn't have to. He chose after 9/11 to join the military, join the Navy, and he understands what that commitment means. He talks often about it, and I won't talk about his lines about it, but I represent Fort Sam Houston and San Antonio. We've got a huge military contingent in Central Texas. And it's so critically important that we restore our belief in our military and restore people's confidence in the military, restore our mission, stop having a woke military. And Governor DeSantis has a track record of taking that stuff on. And let me just be very clear. We need a president who will deliver, and not just deliver words. Governor DeSantis in Florida has totally, fundamentally transformed the game. He won by 1.5 million votes in Florida. Would anybody in this room have guessed that a governor in Florida would have won by 1.5 million votes just a few years ago? Would you have guessed that? No. He won by 19 percentage points. He absolutely overwhelmed the left who were attacking him by doing what he believed in. Let me give you a perfect example. You all know I'm from Texas. You may have heard we have a pretty big border problem. We have 300,000 apprehensions in November. 300,000 apprehensions we're on track for in December. I had 6 kids in the school district that I live in. My kids go to a classical Christian school. But the school district where we live, 6 children died from fentanyl poisoning last year. Think about that. That's happening every day in Texas, all across the country. But we're bearing the brunt of it in Texas. And it's absolutely destroying our communities. Last year, 15 months ago, Governor DeSantis he sent a plane full of illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard and fundamentally transformed the debate. And all of the establishment folks in Washington, a lot of establishment candidates, folks, by the way, I gotta say, with all due respect, like Governor Haley from South Carolina, who too often saddles up to the Chamber of Commerce crowd, the Wall Street Journal crowd, and go get money and come dump money here to attack Ron DeSantis in Iowa, who said, oh, Ron, you can't do that. Don't go do that. Don't go send a plane load of folks to Martha's Vineyard. That'll backfire. You'll lose Hispanic voters. Republicans can't win. He won 62% of the Hispanic vote in Florida. You know why? Because Hispanic voters want what everybody wants, which is the rule of law and freedom and prosperity for their children, their grandchildren. They don't want the cartels to run the show. They want to have a secure country. They don't want little girls getting sold into the sex trafficking trade at stash houses like I have to deal with in Texas and San Antonio. Do you know what it's like to go down to the Rio Grande and see a little, beautiful little girl, whatever race she is, but a Hispanic little girl with a phone number on her arm so she can find her mom when she gets to this country, and know that these little girls are getting sold into the sex trafficking trade? What kind of a compassionate country are we if that's what we're doing to people? And Governor DeSantis is fighting that, has fought it, and has demonstrated wins in Florida. He has taken on the education establishment, taken on the corporate establishment. He took on Disney, and with all due respect, Governor Haley invited Disney to go to South Carolina. With all due respect to former President Trump, whom I supported, and whom I will support if he's the nominee, but with all due respect, he did not get the border security. He said he'd build the wall and have Mexico pay for it. That didn't happen. He said that he would change the policies, and he saddled up with Paul Ryan, and he pushed an amnesty first bill instead of a security first bill. And now we don't have the border security. Now, look, I'm not saying that there weren't problems with Congress, that he wasn't up against some difficult odds. What I'm saying is, Governor DeSantis faced difficult odds in Tallahassee, and he got it done. He transformed the state, and now people are flocking to Florida. We need a president who can actually fight for freedom and deliver for it. And that's what I think we get in a Governor Ron DeSantis as President of the United States. And I'm happy to support him and proud to be here. I always want to say one really critical thing that I think is really important, and that is you. A whole lot of people are trying to tell you that this is already decided, right? The polls have decided this. First of all, how many people in the room, raise your hand vigorously if you believe polls? Okay. That's about the response that I thought I would get. I hope the media caught that back there on the film. That's the confidence they have in the polls that are being broadcast all over Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. Yeah, they didn't really reflect the truth in 2016 when President Trump shocked everybody and beat Hillary Clinton, right? The fact of the matter is, we don't believe in the polls because the polls are supposed to reflect your view, but instead they're not. They're actually trying to take polls and shove those opinions onto you. But Iowans hold the ticket because all roads to the White House go right here. You guys can set the stage for freedom. You guys can set the stage for a new era in this country. You guys can change the dynamic right now, over the next month, by choosing a leader and shocking all the people out there saying that they're the ones who know. You get to decide. We do not anoint people in this country. We do not coordinate people in this country. No one gets this job just because they think they deserve it. And with all due respect, Governor DeSantis has hit all 99 counties in Iowa. He's had 170 events in Iowa. He has worked it. He has shook hands. He has looked you all in the eye. He's here today. He's going to be here until January 15th, trying to earn your vote because he knows you all want a better future for your country. You all are going to set the stage for your kids and grandkids by telling the world that Ron DeSantis is the guy who should be president of the United States. I have the great honor of introducing another governor who won by 19 percentage points. And that is your governor. You guys are so blessed to have a governor that is fighting, that is a conservative, that has delivered tax cuts, that has stood up for energy freedom when you've got a bunch of leftists, including this administration, who want to take away the internal combustion engine and make you pay a whole lot more for electric vehicles and mandate stock that's going to make your jobs harder and drive up the cost of your goods and services and make your life more difficult. She's fighting for energy freedom. She is fighting for Iowans. She is fighting to cut taxes, has delivered on that, fought and signed, as did Governor DeSantis, a strong bill to protect life. You are so blessed to have a great governor, Governor Kim Reynolds.
And thank you for being here in Iowa and supporting Ron. We appreciate it very much. It is great to be in Cyclone Country! Right? Are we fired up and ready to send Ron DeSantis across the finish line? Let's see some excitement. Let's see some energy. heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring about this country. Because I am telling you without hesitation, it matters. It matters. It is this kind of engagement that we're seeing as we crisscross the state with Governor DeSantis that is going to, that is why he is going to win on January 15th, and it is why he is going to win the election in 2024. It's because in each and every one of you, like Chip said, the media is not going to decide this, the polls aren't going to decide this. Each and every one of us, Iowans, are going to decide this. You're going to go to caucus, you're going to caucus for Ron DeSantis, you're going to talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors, talk about his record of accomplishments, talk about his vision and why we need him, because he's somebody that can win. So we need everybody, hands down, getting as many people as we can to January 15th to make sure that we get him across the finish line. You're going to hear it from all of us today, but our country is in trouble. And, you know, we see it on a daily basis. We're living it. I can tell you the pushback that we have to have with this Biden administration is unconscionable. But all you have to do is look at what's going on at the border. And Chip talked about that too. The last 3 days, the thousands and thousands and thousands of illegals that are waiting to cross our border and invade our country is unconscionable. It is unconscionable that this president is not doing his statutory duty to defend the sovereignty of this country, and most importantly, Americans. And this madness has to stop. That's what's at stake. This is what's at stake. It has to stop, and that's why January 15th matters, and that's why it's so important that we elect somebody that can win. Somebody that on day one can step into that role and get this country back on track. Somebody that is focused on the future and not the past. Somebody that has a record of accomplishments. Somebody that puts this country first and puts you first. That will fight every single day for you. Who will win for you and who will lead America's comeback. And I am telling you, without hesitation, that individual is Ron DeSantis. He is bold. He is disciplined. He is principled. You are not going to see any liberal, Democrat, progressives funding his campaign because he is not a puppet. He cannot be bought. He will do the right thing, even when the right thing is really hard. He will stand up for you. He has a spine of steel, and he will do what's right for you and this country. Chip also talked about this. We do 99 counties every day. We know it's important not just to land in the larger cities, stay here for a half an hour and buzz back out. I know it's important to go to rural Iowa, to go to every single county, to talk to Iowans, to listen to Iowans, to talk about our vision for this state moving forward. Ron made the commitment to go to all 99 counties. What did he do? He did it. He followed through with that commitment and really spent the time talking to Iowans and talking about his vision. I think that's reflective of the kind of leader that he will be as President of the United States. I'm going to tell you something else. One thing that I'm a little bit, we're very competitive as governors. So we're keeping an eye on what everybody's doing every year because we want to one-up them. And I have always admired so much this guy and how he gets things done. It is incredible. Whether it has been COVID, history proved him right. Whether it has been backing parents and educational freedom and universal school choice, standing with law enforcement, 50-year low for crime in the state of Florida. I think we could use that across the country. This is somebody who has cut taxes, kept spending in check, reduced the Florida debt by 25%. I want you to raise your hand if you think that that's something that we could use in Washington, D.C. Get those hands in the air. Day one, he will do it. He cut red tape and bureaucracy after a hurricane hit and built a bridge in 3 days. Now, I haven't had to do that, and Lord willing, I won't have to do that. So when this guy says he's going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it, I believe it. He built a bridge in 3 days. That's That's somebody that has a strategy, has a vision, brings people together, and knows how to execute it. He is the most effective leader that I have seen in a long, long time. And I'm gonna say that one more time, because it matters. He is the most effective leader that I have seen in a long, long time. And I wanna just leave you with this. If you like what we're doing in Iowa, I promise you, you are gonna love Ron's vision for this country. So give it up for the next president of the United States, the great governor of Florida, Gov Ron DeSantis. Amazing.
Thank you, Governor Gov Reynolds, for your great work and for your great support. It's great to be back here. Mason, let me ask you a question. We were 5 years old, really likes football stuff. So we were at Machine Shed for the first time. You know, we do Cracker Barrel in the Southeast, and people said, if you like Cracker Barrel, you'll love Machine Shed. So we took the 3 kids, and he picked out a little gift from the shop there. Can you tell them what it was you got in Machine Shed?
Iowa checkerboard.
What kind of checkerboard?
Iowa State checkerboard.
Iowa State checkerboard. So it had a football field, but it was really the checkers, and he didn't really know checkers before then, but now he's learned how to play checkers, all because he loves a football field, but now I think he's kind of become an Iowa State fan because of that thing. So, all right, buddy, you want to stay up or do you want to go back? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. We're so excited to be here in Iowa, and we're going to be here probably all day tomorrow. We're going to get a little break over Christmas. I got Christmas gifts that I've done, and I think I'm in good shape there. I may have to do some more to make sure the kids have a fun time over Christmas. Then we'll be back up here after that. And we want your support on January 15th. We want you to be able to take control of this country's future by delivering me a victory in the Iowa caucus and really launching us to a victory in 2024. It's not about the media, what they want. It's not about what pundits want. It's about what you want. You're the ones that matter. You have it within your power to take this country in a new direction. And we need to go in a new direction. We're in jeopardy of being the first generation of Americans to leave to our kids and grandkids an America less prosperous and less free than the one we inherited. And if we allow that to happen, we will be the first generation of Americans to do that. That will be breaking faith with every generation of Americans, from the American Revolution all the way to the present. When things were tough, they always figured out a way to sacrifice so that future generations would have the opportunity to live in freedom and have opportunities. I, as president, will fight for you. And we have so many of these Republicans that get elected. They go to Washington and then they cave to the Democrats. They cave to the media. They don't follow through on what they said. Chip Roy is one of the few who really digs in and fights for you and fights for the values that we believe in. But you can't just get into office and be a potted plant. You got to be active. You got to go on offense. When I got elected governor, I sat at the office in the state capitol the first day I got sworn in. I looked around the office and I thought to myself, I don't know what SOB is going to succeed me in this office, but they're not going to have anything to do. I'm going to get all the meat off the bone. I'm going to be energetic. I'm going to be raising issues. I'm not going to leave anything. I'm going to take care of business, and that's exactly what we've done. Now, we have shown that we're willing to fight for people. When COVID hit, all the governors were thrust into having to make decisions about kids being in school, people being able to run businesses, whether there should be mandates on masks or vaccines and all this different stuff. And I took positions that were contrary to the narrative, the media, the bureaucracy, Dr. Fauci, the Democrats, and even some Republicans. And I got a lot of flack for that. I had a lot of incoming directed at me, probably more incoming than any governor has ever had. I just think that they thought that I was a target. Florida's an important state, a lot of different reasons. a lot of my supporters are telling me, man, you need to do something different because what you're doing, you're getting killed. But you know, if you're in that position, you either fight for people or you don't. And I had to care more about defending the freedom and the jobs of the people that I represented than I was worried about protecting my own political hide. And that's exactly what we did. We chose freedom over Fauciism. Instead of locking people down, we lifted people up. And the result is the state of Florida has never done better in its entire history because we served for freedom. We also fought for the innocence of our children. I have a first grader, kindergartner, and pre-K, 3. And my wife and I believe that kids should be able to go to school, watch cartoons, just be kids, without having an agenda shoved down their throats. It's wrong to tell a kindergartner that they can change their gender or that they were born in the wrong body. And so we did something about it in Florida, had legislation to protect parents' rights, ensure that we didn't have the sexualization of the curriculum. The media opposed us, of course, the left opposed us, of course. But we had our most powerful company, Disney, opposing that and working against that legislation. If you know anything about Florida politics, usually they're the 800-pound gorilla. When they weigh in, it's over. No one really wants to cross them. And I had a lot of people saying that we weren't going to be able to succeed on this issue because of what Disney was doing to oppose us. But I took an oath to support and defend the people that elected me. I did not take an oath to subcontract out my leadership to a woke corporation based in California. And so we fought and we delivered, and I think they're wrong for it. And that's the thing, you need to fight. If you're not willing to do that, then you can't accomplish anything. But you gotta make sure when you're fighting, you're winning. We need to actually win victories as Republicans. Governor Reynolds has done that here in Iowa. I've done that here. I've done that in the state of Florida. But nationally, Republicans have really struggled. We've lost so many elections. We should have 58 Republican senators. Instead, we have 49. We should have another half a dozen Republican governors. We should have more Republican legislatures. We've been losing election after election consistently outside of states like Florida and Iowa. So you need to win the election. Chip talked about we won the biggest victory in Florida history, all the things, and we can do that nationally. The Democrat, I'm the one that they don't want to run against. They're always attacking me. The media's attacking me. I don't care if it's, I debated Gavin Newsom. I don't care who they put up against us. It may not be Biden. I'll handle whoever they do. That's not a problem. And that's important. And obviously, if you don't win, you just go home. You don't get a chance to make policy. But once you're in there, you've got to convert. You've got to get these things done. If you're promising to build a wall, you got to build the wall. If you're promising to drain the swamp, you've got to drain the swamp. It can't just be about slogans. It can't be empty promises. So I'm the only one running who can say that I've delivered on 100% of my promises. Everything I said I would do, I did. I'm also the only one that can say, if you look at the people on the left who are causing damage in this country across all these different institutions and all these different issues, I'm the only one running for president that has beaten these people time and time again. We beat the teachers union on universal school choice. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat George Soros on crime. I removed 2 ideological, lawless prosecutors, only governor in America to have done that. We beat the Democrats on election integrity. We have banned ballot harvesting in Florida and Zuckerbucks and ensured universal voter ID. We also beat the left on banning China from purchasing land in our state. No farmland, no land in military bases. So this is not just idle rhetoric. This is, we are going toe-to-toe against the people that are driving this country into the ground, and we are beating them. And right now in the state of Florida, the Democratic Party is dead. We used to be a perfectly divided state. Every race was a 1-point race. Not anymore, not after what we've been able to do. That is what you call winning. And that's what we need to do for this country going forward. We also need leadership. You can sit there and get in and flail around, but people want to have a vision about where we're going to take the country. And we can attract more people as Republicans. Kim has done it in Iowa. I've done it in Florida. We've had trouble doing it nationally. Obviously, some of that is built in about animus towards a former president. That's not going anywhere. There's people that'll walk over hot coals barefoot to vote against him, regardless of the policy. That's just the nature of it. So we need leadership. We need to have a vision, and then we need to execute on that vision. Every single day as a leader, they're going to try to draw you off course. The bureaucracy, the media, the Dems, the left, even establishment DC Republicans, they don't necessarily want to see change, but we need a change agent in DC. We need somebody that's going to go up there, recognize that that city does not work for the American people, and is going to be able to lead us to a brighter future. And that's what I'll do. And it's one thing to do it when the wind's at your back. Anyone can do it. It's harder to do it when they have the wind at your face, when they're shooting at you, when they're slinging arrows at you. And that's what you should expect on January 20th, 2025. And if you can't lead through that, then you're not going to be successful. I've shown an ability to do that, and I'll get that done for this country. And we know the stuff that we need to do. We need to restore the American dream in this country. You should be able to work hard and get ahead without having inflation and interest rates and Bidenomics weighing you down. We'll reverse Bidenomics on day one as president. All the executive orders, all the bureaucracy, gone. We'll open up energy for production so that we lower energy costs and gas prices and make this country energy dominant and independent. We should never go to Venezuela or Saudi Arabia and beg for oil. Not on my watch, we won't do that. We're going to stop Congress from spending this country into oblivion. The fact of the matter is the higher prices you've been paying as a result of what politicians in Washington, both Democrats and Republicans, particularly since March of 2020 with the response to COVID, they borrowed, printed, and spent trillions and trillions of dollars. Of course, you're going to see inflation when that happens. In Florida, we've cut taxes every year. We've generated huge surpluses, and I've paid down almost 25% of our state's total accumulated debt from the beginning of statehood till the present. So we've shown how it's done in Florida, and we are going to fight back against the people that are mortgaging our kids' future and spending this country into oblivion. And we need to have reforms beyond just electing a better president. We need term limits for members of Congress. We need a balanced budget amendment for the Constitution. And we need to give the president the ability to line item veto spending bills so that you don't have to sign or veto the entire thing. If they have something in there about promoting transgenderism in Bangladesh, which your money has been used to do, the president should be able to just veto that out and veto out all the pork. It would make a huge, huge difference if we were able to do that. We're also going to restore the sovereignty of our country. Mexican drug cartels are not going to run our southern border anymore. There will be no more invasion at our southern border. We will build a border wall at the southern border as was promised. And maybe more important than anything, we're going to hold the Mexican drug cartels accountable for what they are doing to this country. They're invading our country, they're poisoning our people, and they are killing tens of thousands of Americans each and every year. I'm going to designate them as foreign terrorist organizations. We're going to authorize the use of military force. I do not want to see angel parents have to bury kids anymore. What happens is, and I've talked to way more than you would ever imagine. A lot of these young people are not addicted to drugs. Maybe they take one pill thinking it's something else. If it's laced with fentanyl, that can poison them to death just like that. And they die. We even had an 18-month-old baby in an Airbnb in Florida crawling on the carpet. There happened to be residue from fentanyl on the carpet. And just from that residue, the baby, that killed the baby. 18-month-old. Can you imagine? Can you believe that? And yet, what do the people in D.C. do? They just shrug their shoulders. They don't care. Well, I care about this. I don't accept the fact that we have to see so many of our people killed. And we are going to, not only do we have the right to fight back against the cartels, we have a responsibility to fight back against the cartels. Help is on the way. As As the only veteran running for president, and as the first veteran to be elected since 1988 who served in a foreign war, I know we need to revitalize our nation's military. I know we need to get the social, political, and woke ideologies out of the military. We need to make sure that the military is focused on the mission above all else, and that promotions are done based on merit and achievement, and not based on any other characteristics. And we, as Commander-in-Chief on day one, we will restore that to the military. We're going to have a stronger military to defend against the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party. We cannot let the 21st century be a Chinese century. It needs to remain and be an American century. And as Commander-in-Chief, I'll get that job done so that our kids and grandkids can live in a free society. We also need to ensure that our schools are educating kids but not indoctrinating kids. We're going to defend the rights of parents to direct the education and upbringing of their kids. We're going to emphasize subjects like American civics and promoting our Constitution and Bill of Rights and teaching kids about our founding principles and what it means to be an American. We're going to ensure that higher education is focusing on pursuing truth, not on political indoctrination. When you have these universities like Penn and Harvard that are doing that, we are not going to send your tax dollars to those universities. We're going to make sure that we get reform. We're also going to ensure that whether you live in a red state or a blue city, criminals are held accountable for their crimes. We are not going to let the inmates run the asylum. We are not going to sit idly by and let radical prosecutors refuse to enforce the law and put people back on the street and victimize more Americans. Every American family should have the right to raise their kids and grandkids in peace and security from sea to shining sea. We're going to restore the rule of law in this country. We're going to support the men and women of law enforcement who help make that happen. And we are not going to let the left poison any more of these cities with their radical policies that have put people's lives at risk. We're also going to restore our Constitution to the center of our national life. That means a limited government that works alongside us, not an unaccountable bureaucracy that imposes its will on us, that is weaponized against us, and that institutes policies regardless of the outcome of elections. We're going to restore the government to its proper function, and we are going to return control of the government to its rightful owners, which is we, the American people. And that also involves bringing a reckoning to all the agencies involved in COVID-19 mandates and lockdowns and restrictions. Those policies failed. Those policies were destructive. You were lucky because you had a governor that fought for you. Florida's lucky because we fought for people, but that wasn't true everywhere in this country. And there's lasting damage that was done, and yet nobody has been held accountable for this. I am going to bring a reckoning. I am going to hold people accountable because we can never let this happen to our country ever again. And there's going to be a lot more that we'll do. But if we're just able to knock out all that stuff, then we'll be able to say that we've restored America to what President Reagan called a shining city on a hill, that we will have met the moment to turn over to our kids and grandkids a stronger, freer, and more prosperous city on the hill. And we really have no other choice. Our founding fathers understood that every generation of Americans would be tested, would have to stand up for freedom when it was at risk. When Benjamin Franklin walked out of the Constitutional Convention after they framed the Constitution, he was asked to give us a republic or a monarchy. His answer was a republic if you can keep it. They understood you could have the best Constitution in the world, you could have the best Declaration of Independence in the world. These things do not run on autopilot. They require every generation of Americans to step up, defend freedom when it's at risk, sometimes even wearing a uniform, risking your life, and giving the last full measure of devotion in service of this country. Now, we're not called upon to make sacrifices of that nature, but what we are called upon to do is to preserve what George Washington called the sacred fire of liberty. This is a fire that burned in 1776 in Independence Hall when 56 men pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to establish a new nation conceived in liberty. It's a fire that burned at a cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, when our nation's first Republican president pledged this nation to a new birth of freedom. It's a fire that burned on the shores of Normandy when a merry band of brothers stormed France, defeated Nazi Germany, and preserved liberty throughout the world. It's a fire that burned in 1987 at the foot of the Berlin Wall when a resolute Republican president stood in front of that wall and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," and eventually brought about the end of the Soviet Union. This is our responsibility, to carry this torch and to preserve the sacred fire of liberty. It's not a responsibility I shy away from. It's a responsibility that I welcome. It's a responsibility that we all should welcome. It's a responsibility that you have in your hands as you decide who to caucus for on January 15th. I'm asking for your support. If you go out and support me, you are going to change the entire narrative, trajectory, everything out there is in your hands. And as the nominee of the party, I'll get the job done just like I did in Florida. We'll win the election. We'll bring in congressmen, senators, everything we need to do to make this country succeed. As a leader, I'll always operate and conduct myself in a way that you can be proud of. And as your president, I can promise you this, you give me that opportunity, I will not let you down. We will get the job done. God bless, thank you. All right, anybody have any questions? Oh, we got the First Lady of Florida here, there she is. Okay. You know, Casey, my wife, has promised, and I've promised too, the American people, we have first grader, kindergarten, and preschool. When we're in the White House, the only thing our kids are going to be bringing back is homework, not cocaine, so you're not going to have to worry about any of the nonsense that we've seen lately. Yes, sir.
May I please request the use of accurate language in everything starting with illegal alien invasion?
Yeah, that's what I use. That's what's in the statute in terms of illegal alien. Yeah, I agree, no problem. Anyone else? What do we got? Where? Yes. Yes, sir.
What is your perspective on our spending for Ukraine and Israel and the impact on the country?
Well, look, I mean, I'm a supporter of Israel. I think they're a great ally. It's an important ally. They really depend on us because the rest of the world is really against them. We don't really need to do necessarily that much. I don't think they're asking for that much money. I think what they're asking for is our 100% support for them to accomplish their mission. And that's what you don't get with Biden. He's kind of waffling here or there. They're attacking them for this or that. Look, they're fighting for their existence. Hamas would annihilate Israel if they could. Hamas would drive every single Jew to the sea if they could. This is not just some small dispute. This is an existential fight. So I'm supportive. I will be a strong ally to Israel. Now, what they've sent your money to do in other parts of the world, I think is not a good use of money. For example, they have sent billions and billions of dollars of your tax dollars to pay salaries for Ukrainian bureaucrats. They've paid pension payments for Ukrainian pensioners, retired Ukrainian bureaucrats. They're sending a lot of money to pay for small business subsidies and farm subsidies in Ukraine. How is that something that's our responsibility? I want to see Russia in a box. I think that they're a hostile country, but funding salaries from halfway around the world when our own border is wide open? Why don't we take care of our issues in this country? Why are we letting our own people be vulnerable to terrorist attacks? Why are we allowing 8 million people to come in, and the drugs and the trafficking and all those other things? So you got to take care of your own house. You got to take care of the issues that are important to the American people. And I look around the world, and we have allies. Some are more dependable than others in terms of providing for their own defense. The purpose of an ally, like these European countries, is that we work together to help create a safe and secure world. Not that we provide security for them and they don't have to provide for their own defense, and yet most of these NATO countries are not doing what they need to be doing. They need to step up and they need to answer the call, particularly in their own continent. Yes?
As a recently retired military member, I appreciate your support for the military. I respect your service. I think that the border security has become a national security issue. Would you ever consider using the military to help secure the border?
Yes, I've said, we're going to declare, so the question's about would you use the military to secure the border? Yeah, on day one, we're going to view it as a military issue. We're going to declare them to be, the cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations. That will unlock our ability to use deadly force. I mean, if I've identified a cartel member bringing fentanyl to the border, they try to break into the country, that's going to be all she wrote for them. I'm not going to just let them break into this country. And once you, if someone was breaking into your home, you would be authorized to use deadly force. Yet somehow people can just break into our country with poison that's going to kill. I mean, when they have fentanyl in the backpack, that usually can kill 100,000 people. And we're just supposed to just shrug our shoulders. I'm not doing that. And once you start holding them accountable, you are going to see much different behavior. They do what they're doing because they've been getting a free ride, and nobody's been willing to hold them accountable. That changes on January 20th, 2025. Yep. So the question is about China and Taiwan. Look, Taiwan's an ally. Taiwan is strategically important to us. They do all the semiconductors, or a lot of them. If China were able to get that, that would impact the economy in this country in a big way. But Taiwan's not just about semiconductors. What China wants to do is break out of this first chain of islands so that they can dominate commerce in the overall Indo-Pacific, just beyond where their shores are. And if they're able to do that, they will impose their authoritarian vision on other countries in the world as a cost of doing business. You already see people in America that genuflect to them, that will grovel when China gets mad, bank executives, NBA executives, all this stuff. I can tell you, if they became the dominant maritime power in the Indo-Pacific, you ain't seen nothing yet. It would impact every single person in this country in a way that's negative. So our policy is going to be very simple. We are going to bolster our naval power in the Indo-Pacific. We're going to implement a strategy so that China will not be able to move on Taiwan, because they will see that we just have too much firepower. Biden has not done that. It's possible that they move during Biden's presidency. I don't think they're necessarily ready to do that, but they may just think that the opportunity is too strong. An amphibious invasion is one of the most difficult things to do in military. Their military is very untested, but they've built it up a lot over the years. I have no doubt that if we have adequate hard power in that region, that we can deter it. But we're not where we need to be now, and we need to do more, and I will get that done.
In 2020,
sorry, I told him that I'll be you.
In 2020,
I told him I would do that. I'll go to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you running Governor, and thank you for being here. My question is, in 2016, Trump promised to drain the swamp, and I don't think that he did exactly what he promised, in my opinion. Compared to you, when you become president, what are you going to do differently to drain the swamp?
Great. So the question was, 16, Trump promised to drain the swamp as president. He did not. I mean, like, that's just the reality. I mean, I don't care if you're the biggest Trump supporter. The swamp is worse today, by far, than it was just 6 or 7 years ago. And in fact, he put a lot of people in positions who were from the swamp. And he didn't fire people like Fauci when he had an opportunity to do it. So I think you can compare what I've done in Florida. I came in as governor. Within 2 weeks, we removed 2 supervisors of elections in South Florida who had botched elections. I removed the sheriff of Broward County who botched the Parkland school shooting. I've removed 2 George Soros-backed radical left prosecutors, one in Tampa, one in Orlando. Only governor in the country to do that. We've downsized our bureaucracy. We've eliminated agencies. So we've shown how it's done in the state of Florida. But here's the thing. DC swamp is more difficult than anything that I dealt with in Florida. It's more difficult what Kim has to deal with in Iowa. I acknowledge that. I don't think anyone can say that a governor is the same as being in DC, because that power has accumulated for a long time. We now have a situation where 5 of the 8 wealthiest counties in our entire country are suburbs of Washington, D.C. That didn't get that way because they're doing good government there. It got that way because there's a lot of self-serving policies. When they ring up debt and print money and you pay more here in Iowa, they're making money in D.C. So that's how it's been wired. So when you do that, you got to recognize the bureaucracy is going to be opposed to you, the institutional interests are going to be opposed to you, the media will be opposed, Democrats will be opposed. You've got to have a president that is focused and disciplined on unraveling this swamp, and it's not going to happen overnight. You got to be methodical and you got to keep on it. You got to have attention to detail. If we could just flip a switch, somebody would have done that by now. It's just not that easy. And so I'm the guy that you want in there for an 8-year period, by the way, not just one term. Donald Trump can only serve one term, even if he could get elected. And I think the election year will be very difficult if he's our nominee, and that's what the Democrats want. You know the Democrats want to run against him. That should tell you something about who would be smart for us to run or not run. Don't give them what they want. They have a playbook that they're going to run on that. But I think the 2 terms, because you're going to have to unravel a lot of this stuff. There's been a lot of power that's accumulated. But if you're only there 1 term, a lot of these changes may not stick. You're there 2 terms, this stuff sticks. This stuff will be there. It'll be much harder to unravel as that becomes part of how government operates. So yes, I think that it'll be something that we are going to have as one of our top issues. It's not going to be something that is just going to happen without somebody that's really determined to get it done. And I've shown an ability to do that, and I will do that. Okay, yes?
In 2020, we learned about hundreds of former George W. Bush staffers who voted for Joe Biden. What do you look for as you hire and develop leaders in your administration to carry out, I mean, it's thousands of people, right? I mean, you're one guy, and it's thousands of employees.
I think it's a great question, and your name is?
Curtis.
Curtis, great question. Personnel. Honestly, if you think like, what's the type of people say, they were leaning to Trump, but they're open to me, what would be some things? And I list a bunch, but one of the big differences will be personnel. I don't think Trump's going to be able to recruit good personnel. I think it's going to be very tough because of how people have been treated in the last 4 years when he was there. The idea that they want to sign up for that again, I don't think, and he put a lot of insiders in these positions as well. What I'm going to do is I don't think you can just recycle people from DC. I think you need to appeal to people across the country as a public service, pick up your family 2, 4, 6, 8 years, come to the nation's capital, serve in the administration, and be a part of our movement to restore the government to we the people. And these are going to be people that are driven by principle, that are driven by conviction, but that intend to go back and live under the policies that they helped enact, not become permanent fixtures of Washington. And there's already folks out there that I trust that are gathering resumes by the thousands and thousands. You need to start on day 1. So after the election, you need to already have thousands of people lined up ready to go. And then on January 3rd, when the new Congress comes in, you send all these people to the Senate for confirmation. And then on January 20th, you got to be ready to rock and roll with a major team. A president or governor, anybody in executive's got to have humility. You make the decisions, you set the vision, but ultimately you need a cadre of people around you to be able to execute this. If you have a great policy and make great decisions, and then the people that are implementing it are trying to sabotage it, it's not going to work. So have that humility, understand the limits of what one person can do, and really work hard to get people around you who are in it for the right reasons. And I think we've done that in Florida in a very good way. For example, our Surgeon General in Florida is a guy named Joseph Latipo. So he was a tenured professor at UCLA, doctor, and COVID hits, and he was one of the few that would speak out against lockdowns and mask mandates and all these things. And he became a pariah amongst his fellow faculty, but he was right on all these things. So I brought him in to be Surgeon General of Florida, and I told him, I said, look, you're going to be the only person in the country in a position like this who's going to be willing to say what you're saying. Because at that time, it was still hysteria was reigning supreme. Now everyone pretends like they took the positions that I did and these people back then, but that wasn't true. We were the ones that were attacked. And he's like, I get it. And I was like, it's going to be almost positive feedback. When you go out there and they attack you, they're attacking you because you're over the target. They're attacking you because you're threatening their narrative. And so sure enough, that's what would happen. And it got to the point where, I'd run into them in Tallahassee and I'd be like, hey, I haven't really been following, what you've been up to the last week or two, but I see you're getting attacked a lot by the media, so you must be doing something right. And that's just the idea that you got to have about what you're doing. I mean, if you're going to be Attorney General, for example, in a Republican administration, and you actually want to overhaul the DOJ and end the weaponization and all the nonsense that's developed there, they are not going to like you in Washington. The media is going to attack you. You're not going to get invited to cocktail parties. That's just the reality. So if you want to just be liked and you want to just be there and enjoy all the other stuff, then you're not going to do a good job. I mean, you need people there that have that backbone to stand strong, take the incoming, and know that you may not be representing the people inside official Washington, their dreams and their wishes, but you are standing up for the rest of America outside the Beltway. And I want to start putting the rest of America first rather than the DC insiders first.
I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to thank you for being the only 2A candidate out there that sat down at a round table.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And also, Biden's weaponized our ATF. What do you want to do about that?
Oh, so we're gonna, what Biden is, actually Trump gave Biden the framework to do this by doing restrictions related to firearms through the bureaucracy without even getting a law passed. Now, I'm not saying I would support these laws, but when Biden's going after this pistol brace, that's making potentially 1 million or more people felons just by the bureaucracy making a rule. And you could somehow be put in jail for that. So we're going to reverse all of that. That is weaponization. That is not an appropriate use of bureaucratic power. And you are going to see a new regime in charge when we get there regarding what they're doing. And that's the thing. Some of this on individual issues, firearms, automobiles with what they're trying to do with forcing electric vehicles, others, energy policy. About all these things are important for issues in terms of getting the policy right, and Biden's going to get all the policy wrong. But it's even more fundamental. Who governs our country? And if we, the people, govern our country, that means the most important decisions about federal policy are enacted by people that you elect to the House, to the Senate, and to the White House. When nameless, faceless bureaucrats are able to issue rules that have massive impact on American society without ever standing for election, without being able to be held accountable, that is not a government based on popular consent. That is a government in which the bureaucracy is just out of control. And unfortunately, that's what we've seen in this country for many, many years. And so we're going to get to the root of that problem with really bringing in the reins of the bureaucracy. We're not going to have an unlimited fourth branch of government. We're going to reconstitutionalize this so that the government operates the way the founding fathers in the Constitution envisioned. 3 branches of government, all executive branch agencies responsible to the President of the United States, and they do not have license to just do whatever the heck they want, regardless of the outcome of elections. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're committed for us, I just want to thank you for your support. If you become committed because of today, please sign up with us and join the team. And I'm asking everybody that's going to go caucus for us, bring some other people. All you have it within your hands to bring another person or two. That will change everything by doing this. And so this is a unique opportunity that Iowans have. I think I've done it the right way by actually showing up, by going to debates, by visiting all the counties, by doing the town halls, answering your questions. Not every candidate is doing that. I'm not entitled to your vote. I have to earn your support. And I know I've done that in some cases. Hopefully we've done more today, and we're going to continue doing that all the way up till January 15th. So we appreciate your support. We're asking for your support. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you.